Hi there, everyone. This is Darren from SimNation, just doing a quick recap video for the WWPF, which of course is our Draft Day Sports Pro Football 2025 League here at SimNation. This one's different than GMPFL in that this allows playbooks instead of just using the coaches' playbooks. And this, like SNCFL, is the oldest league that we have here. This one actually predates SNCFL because this one started probably in, I want to say it probably started a lot earlier than that. I think at least back in 2008, 2009. Um, so this league's been around for a long, long time. It used to actually pull its players out of WWCF, which is, of course, the bowl-bound college football league here at SimNation. Just wanted to do a quick recap video. This one's not going to be very long, just to bring you up to speed on what's going on. We are now into week 13. I will say that the playoff picture is pretty much clear as mud in many regards. This has been an interesting season with a lot of different upsets. We'll start over in the NFC. I think that it's pretty clear that Detroit is probably going to make the playoffs. I think if they win another game or two, they should actually be in position to seal that deal and potentially get to a place where they may be able to get a bye. Of course, LA's in our way. This is, if I remember correctly, this is Super MN66, who's one of our newer coaches in the league. He's doing really good. Of course, standing in his path is Green Bay, who is DWK. Green Bay is just having a really, really good season so far. You can see they've won 5 straight. And the thing that's just going to hurt them, of course, is the division, which is why I think Detroit will ultimately win the division as long as they don't go on a massive losing streak. But Green Bay, I think, has played their way into the playoffs, and I think that they are pretty safe at 9-3 with the fact that they're going to make the playoffs. Chicago, this is Cotton, and of course Minnesota's Starfinder. I think they're largely out of the picture at this point. Carolina, with one more win, should be able to essentially clinch the South. Well, they've already clinched the South. They're in the playoffs already, but they should be able to clinch the number one seed. Of course, this week, I think, if I remember correctly, they play Oakland, who's Peter, so that should be a really good game to watch. And then everyone else is not going to make the playoffs. New York, this is a CPU team if you're interested. They're having a really good season. New York has pretty much clinched the East already. They play Pittsburgh this week, so that should be an interesting matchup as well. But New York is definitely already in. So Carolina, New York are in. Detroit, Green Bay largely are in. And then Los Angeles and Detroit are going back and forth with who will get that number two seed. I do think the number one seed is going to be Carolina. And then, of course, you can see San Francisco starting to come on. This is Stewart. So um, Carolina is a visible witness, of course. LA is, of course, Barry. And then Arizona, if I remember correctly, is Simon. So there's still some competitiveness here, but as of it looks like today, the NFC is a lot more clear than the AFC. You still have an open race in the North for who's going to be the division winner. South division's already chosen. East division's already chosen. The West division is pretty much already chosen. And now what you're looking for is who's going to get that final wild card spot between San Francisco, Arizona. Another team may be able to creep in if someone goes on a losing streak, but really it's between these two teams with San Francisco and Arizona. In the AFC, Pittsburgh with one more win in their last like 3 games, will clinch the number one seed. Um, and then you have a pretty wide open race between Tennessee, Indianapolis, and Jacksonville. Tennessee, of course, is Bama. Indianapolis and Jacksonville are both open teams, so if you're interested, really good team here to choose. They're also playing for wild card berths. Buffalo, who's a CPU team, has effectively clinched the East. They could still lose it though. New England, Shark has been struggling a little bit. Soa opened up very, very hot. As you can see, he's lost 6. So that means at one point he was largely 5-1. Um, but he's been on a massive losing streak. And then, of course, Kevin is trying to unwind all the damage that was done to New York. And this is more of a building season for him. Next season, I expect New York to be back where they were. New England's a little bit weird because I didn't expect Shark to have the season he's having. He can potentially play himself into the playoffs, but likely that's not going to happen with these teams at 7-5, 7-6. Plus, you have Cleveland and Baltimore at 6-6. Um, the West is still pretty wide open between Oakland and Denver. I think, if I remember correctly, Denver's beaten Oakland once, but it's really between these two teams. So if you look at it right now, Pittsburgh clinches the number one seed with a single win. Actually, I think, yeah, they do, because really it's Buffalo's the only one, and those two teams will play head to head in like 2 weeks. So Pittsburgh should win this. This one's still really wide open, and this is also where the final wild card slot will probably come from. Although again, Bio with Cleveland can play into that. And then Buffalo is right now the number two seed, although again, they have a fairly hard schedule ahead of them. And then you have Oakland and Denver. Both of these teams are playoff bound. It's just who's going to win the conference. Uh, both the two teams also can play into the number two seed. It's just which one of them gets hot. Of course, it's not normal to see Peter with losing two in a row, losing, I think, like 3 out of his last 4. He's having some struggles with defense. His defense is normally much better than this. But when the playoffs start, it changes. Peter's just a different beast to play in the playoffs. So right now, Pittsburgh is probably the 1 seed. We'll just say Buffalo, Oakland, or Denver will be the 2 seed. Whoever doesn't get the conference championship here will be in the one of the wild card teams. And then let's just say Tennessee wins the South. It'll be between Indianapolis, Jacksonville, and Cleveland for that final spot. So as you can see, clear as mud, right? The NFC is a lot more defined than the AFC. Passing yards, Marcus Witten's having a really strong season. So is Ron Baker, Farrell Compton, and Adam Johnson. Kind of the joke here is 3 of these 4 quarterbacks are Maryland quarterbacks. But probably the person playing right now for the MVP is going to be between Ron Baker and Adam Johnson. I don't think Marcus Witten, his ratings are not as high. As you can see, Baker's having just a really good season. Um, but we'll see how that plays out. Rushing yards, Lackey has started to break away from the pack, mostly just because Nathan Ford got hurt. He was keeping pace with Lackey before he got hurt, but the guy to keep an eye on who's having a really good season is Jose Laney. He may win Rookie of the Year on the offensive side this year because he's just having a really, really good season. Um, and then from receiving yards, it's really Oakland wide receivers in many cases. David Bittner, of course, who moved over from San Diego, is having a great season, but so is Blake Daly. Floyd Hammond is another guy to keep an eye on for the NFC. And then you see Kansas City has quite a few wide receivers. Desmond, who came from Seattle, has dropped off a little bit, but Bittner hasn't dropped off at all. He'll probably be the best wide receiver in the league at the end of the season. Tackle wise, Cunningham has just really been good with Shark. He's here almost every year. Pantoja is a really good Ravens linebacker. The sack leader will be the same sack leader it's been for the last few seasons. It's going to be Dustin Souza. The dude's just a beast. He's probably going to go down as one of the best sack artists in the league ever. And then you can see Simon has Carl Wiggins, who's leading in interceptions right now. But there are a couple other people who can reach him relatively quickly. Performance-wise, still Baker, Compton, and Johnson. Lackey's up there. I think Lackey has moved into like 5th or 6th career rise in rushing yards. Uh, but I still think Ford's going to overtake him because Ford is like a year younger than he is. So overall, pretty good season so far. Be interested to see how it plays out. But let me know your thoughts, and if you're interested in our league, I'll put the links in the video. Thank you, and have a great day.